Ready to Rumble is one of the strangest endeavours any wrestling company has ever undertaken. On the surface, it made total sense. Make a major motion picture about WCW in an effort to increase the promotion's popularity with a mainstream audience, thus getting them right back in the running with regards to the Monday Night War. What we actually got was a movie that critics hated, audiences didn't engage with, and wrestling fans somehow rather liked. Which is kinda weird because it's a movie that portrays them almost exclusively as toothless simpletons unaware of the basic premise that wrestling is in fact a work. Then there's the crass toilet humour, the nonsensical plot, and a whole host of other things that make this one of the worst wrestling movies ever made. Much like my voiceover work, it's acceptable only to those who ignore its faults and watch it for reasons of nostalgia. Despite causing a stir at the time, Ready to Rumble has dropped from the collective consciousness over the years. There's no Blu-ray release, and hell, you can't even buy it on DVD in the UK, but still it turns 20 years old this April, so let's get our nuts up to its guts. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 8 things you didn't know about Ready to Rumble. Number 8. Stunt doubles. In a movie such as this, with its extensive wrestling sequences, stunt doubles were required for the actors, particularly David Arquette and Oliver Platt. And who better to play the role than wrestlers themselves? As a matter of fact, who better than Kanyon? As you can see from the above image, the production enlisted the services of Chris Kanyon and Shane Helms to take bumps for Platt and Arquette respectively. Kanyon, who was fight choreographer for the film, referred to his costume as a fat suit, much to Platt's displeasure, and also made an on-camera appearance as a fan in an Insane Clown Posse t-shirt during one of the Nitro scenes. Sugar Shane also had tasks beyond simply imitating former WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette. As he explained during a post on his personal website a couple of years ago, director Brian Robbins asked him to teach all the words of Run DMC's King of Rock, which was Jimmy King's entrance music, to the crowd of largely Hispanic extras so they could all rap along to it on film. As I'm sure you can imagine, that was not particularly easy. Number 7. Rey Mysterio suffered a major knee injury during filming. In the movie's opening credits, the line, "No wrestlers were harmed during the making of this motion picture" appears. A cute throwaway line, but not one that is remotely true. While a few errant punches were thrown, and I'm pretty sure Ready to Rumble must set the record for on-screen nut shots, one of WCW's brightest superstars suffered a pretty serious injury while on set. Rey Mysterio re-injured his notoriously dodgy knee while repeatedly filming a sequence for the first match shown on camera. An unmasked Mysterio's knee gave out as he was tasked with performing a pop-up Frankensteiner over and over and over again, with the camera crew requesting reshoots to get it from every conceivable angle. He was out from November 1999 to May 2000, but if it's any consolation to him, his brief appearance is one of the best looking things in the entire film, which I'm sure it's not. Number 6. Platt accidentally hit Randy Savage during a fight scene. Yeah, Mysterio wasn't the only one to suffer some real-life damage during this so-called fake movie, as legendary grappler and soon-to-be ex-WCW star Randy Savage also took some punishment while filming his scenes. A massively roided Macho Man, along with his borderline problematically younger girlfriend Gorgeous George, appear in one of the first scenes in the movie. A fantasy sequence where the Arquette character daydreams about teaming with Jimmy King to take down Savage and a convenience store clerk who is constantly giving him shit. During the filming of the scene, actor Oliver Platt accidentally potatoed Randy with a genuine right hand to the chin. He was instantly apologetic, as seen during the end credits and outtakes reel. Savage, to his credit, doesn't instantly then throw Platt through a window and cut a promo on him. Just 2 years later, Savage would make another wrestling appearance in a film that was greeted with far better reviews when he played Bonesaw in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Somehow, I don't think the man in the red and blue suit stiffed the late WWE Hall of Famer. Number 5. The film only made half of its budget back. Now, despite the impression I might have given in the intro, I secretly quite like Ready to Rumble, but there's no getting away from the fact it was a gigantic flop. The film opened on April 7th, 2000 across a not inconsiderable 2,585 theatres at number 6 on the top 10 box office charts. This still only earned it a rotten $5.2 million. That's an average of just over $2,000 per theatre and is in fact still in the top 50 worst openings for a saturated film release ever. The weekend after, the film fell to number 10 in the chart, earning a further $2.6 million, a drop of almost 50%. For its third week, the film was pulled from over 1,000 theaters and grossed less than $1 million. It continued to fall week after week as it was pulled from more and more venues. By the end of its 7-week run, it was playing in only 219 theaters across the whole of the United States, amassing a measly $57,000 in the process. Its total foreign gross was around about that much as well. All told, Ready to Rumble grossed $12.3 million, which sounds okay, but it was against an estimated $24 million production budget. It didn't help WCW, and it certainly didn't help distributor Warner Brothers. It was the Atlanta-based company's biggest waste of money since, and let me just check my notes here, hiring the Ultimate Warrior in 1998. Number 4, DDP pitched an alternate ending to Warner Brothers. Somewhat unlikely WCW champion Diamond Dallas Page, and before you have any issue with that comment, he had been an upper mid-carder right up until 1997, features heavily in Ready to Rumble. Page is the heel champion that Jimmy King must defeat to regain his title and his career, and also his pride, or something or other, I don't really know. The film ends with King winning the match by slamming DDP through the 3 cages to the mat below, reject a potential tag team with Goldberg in favour of tagging with Shawn Dawkins instead, before the heroes ride off in a stretch Hummer driven by a Nitro Girl. This 105-minute fever dream is finally over in the most audience-pleasing way they could imagine. But according to his 2013 U-Shoot, DDP suggested to Warner Brothers at the time that the movie should end with King and himself hugging each other and talking about the match after it was over, telling the Khan and Arquette characters, who, like the film itself, are not aware that wrestling is a work, "Boys, welcome to the business," before inviting them both out for a drink. This would presumably cause their minds to explode in a situation similar to David Cronenberg's Scanners. Ugh. This ending makes not a jot of sense, thanks to the film flip-flopping between presenting wrestling as a shoot and a work purely for its own entertainment. Don't get me wrong, it's a better ending than what we actually got, but Warner Brothers didn't bite, and the film ends with a montage of people getting hit between the legs. Haha, great. Number 3, John Cena makes a cameo. During a 2006 promo to hype their upcoming triple threat match at Cyber Sunday, Big Show, Booker T, and John Cena referenced their cinematic careers. Show made mention of the roles in The Waterboy, Cena talked about the heavily hyped The Marine, and King Booker said that he was great in Ready to Rumble, leading him to be mocked by his 2 opponents. I don't know why Cena was laughing so much, since he actually appears in the movie as well. Granted, it's nothing more than a split-second cameo, but the Doctor of Thugonomics can clearly be glimpsed during a scene where Jimmy King approaches Goldberg and asks him for his help while the Man is training at the gym. Cena would have been in the very, very, very early stages of his wrestling career at this point, training at UPW school in California. This went under the radar for many years, but Cena himself confirmed it was in fact him when responding to a fan on Twitter in 2011. Number 2, Eric Bischoff was originally going to play himself in the main role. It's pretty obvious watching Ready to Rumble that the character of crooked promoter Titus Sinclair is based on former WCW Vice President Eric Bischoff. Sinclair is a slimy figure adorned in a motorcycle jacket and a bull tie that screws the other wrestlers. You know, pretty much exactly the same as Bischoff had done with the likes of Ric Flair and Eddie Guerrero over the previous couple of years. And in actual fact, Bischoff was due to play a fictionalized version of himself in the film before he was let go by WCW just a couple of months before filming was due to begin. According to Bischoff, the film was a pet project of his and the original script was a lot more dramatic. When he was on the outs though, Time Warner, who didn't appreciate wrestling for anything other than the strong ratings, decided to get involved and made it a more comedic endeavour, essentially making fun of the wrestling business. Would the film have been any better with Bischoff's involvement? Well, it's hard to say, but it certainly couldn't have been any worse, and watching him try and play a version of himself on the big screen would have been incredible content for us years to come. Number 1, a sequel was planned, but never made. As amazing as it seems, considering how spectacularly poorly it turned out, there was in fact rumours that a Ready to Rumble sequel was going to be made. Although details still remain sketchy, it appears that this was such a fun production to work on that everybody involved wanted to do it again. When the film completely tanked though, costing WCW and distributors Warner Brothers millions of dollars, any plans for a sequel were shelved indefinitely. Speaking of Warner Brothers though, because they own the rights to the film, Ready to Rumble will never ever be available to stream on the WWE Network, unless apparently the dub paid them a hefty figure for the rights, which they categorically never will do. It may be made in conjunction with WCW, be loaded with WCW stars, and result in WCW crowning David Arquette its World Heavyweight Champion, but it's Bugs Bunny that owns the company, I think, and thus the copyright on it. So there you have it, those are 8 things you didn't know about Ready to Rumble, and yes, I'm well aware you also never asked. Let me know what you made of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I've of course been Adam Cleary, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.